Good evening, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
This is the episode I didn't want to talk about. This is going to be our spoiler heavy of episode 2 of season 2 of The Last of Us. This one is called Through the Valley. I'm trying to collect my thoughts. We just got done with this episode. I fully believed in my heart that this episode would be episode 5 or 6 of this 7-episode season.
Right.
And they would spend more time with Jackson. They spend more time with the attack on Jackson that would be a thing, and then that would be the extra kind of bottle episode that they would put in because the attack on Jackson doesn't happen in the game. No.
I mean, I thought I kind of knew this probably wasn't going to end well. Not that anybody said anything, but from my husband and my daughter's demeanor, but I didn't think it would all happen in the same episode, right? We knew there was going to be an attack on Jackson.
Yeah.
We saw the tendrils or whatever coming out of the pipe in the last episode, so we knew they were getting in. And then there's been some stuff in the previews, right, where you see them all rushing in the town or whatever.
Yeah.
So you knew they were, but I didn't think this was all gonna happen in the same. Like, Abby came, did her business, left.
Yeah, and that's how it's jarring how they do it in the game, and it's written that way on purpose. The way they kill Joel in the game is almost beat for beat, using the exact lines as they use in this episode, and it happens at the end of the first act of the game, it's a catalyst for Abby. It's a catalyst catalyst is not the right word. Computer, hi. Dude, dumb. I was talking about how this is the catalyst for Abby, and catalyst isn't quite the right word or what I was trying to like. This Abby is the mirror image of Ellie, and to tell that mirror image story, you have to have Abby go through a similar. Or have Ellie go through a similar dramatic event as Abby does.
Right. They both have lost their dads.
Yeah. Their father figure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And in the game itself, when they kill off Joel, it sends Abby on this rage-filled revenge tour that leads her to the WLF, the creepy guys in the woods that are hanging people that were shown in the trailer whose name I can't think of right now, and Dina goes with her, and is trying to be her moral compass through the game.
Okay.
To try to the same way that Abby's friends are the people who are there with her the entire time going, no, we're going to help you with this, but...
Oh, this is Ellie's revenge tour.
Ellie's revenge tour.
Okay,
Abby.
I think so.
It's kind of it can be confusing because they both are essentially the same person.
Right. No, I was just... because Abby did what she came to do.
Yeah.
And left. So I was trying to figure out
and
who
Ellie,
she was seeking revenge on now.
Yeah, no, it's Ellie now who's got all that. And Ellie, who's been raised by this violence first type of person for the last 5-6 years, who is a violent person in herself.
Right, yeah.
And now she has very little to care about.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that at the end of the episode. I'm like, there's nothing for her now. I mean, she is made, at least in Jackson,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She is made, not even attachments, right? Except for, what's her name? Dina?
Dina, yeah.
Everybody else is, they're friends, but she can take them or leave them. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say Dina's the only one that she really, like, would have a hard time being without.
Yeah.
Left in Jackson.
Yeah.
So, so there's nothing, like, she's almost completely unattached to anything in this world at this point.
Yeah, and I've been really good about not like skipping ahead when we talk about these things for what happens in the game, because she hadn't played the game and I had, and I've played about halfway through the game of the second game, and it wasn't because the story was not intriguing me. That's the gameplay was frustrating me beyond a point where I was enjoying the game anymore.
Right.
And so we're going to get to a point here soon where I'm like everybody else who's just watching the show, going along with the story. Now, I know what ultimately happens with Ellie, with Abby, with the WLF. I know what happens, but I can't do the details like I can up to this point, essentially. Right. And so I've been wondering how they were going to handle this particular situation. I honestly thought, because they have been, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann have been very adamant that they're going to tell the basis of the second game, but not tell the same story.
Right.
And possibly tell it out of order. So I thought the events of this episode would be episode 6.
Right.
And we would have to deal with the funeral aftermath in episode 7, and then we'd have to wait a year and a half till season 3. And we have to sit in that malaise of what happens to Joel.
Right.
Especially since it's Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he is so beloved, so they just killed off. Now, I don't think Pedro or Joel are done with this season. Because at the end of last week's episode, Ellie goes home and Joel's sitting on the bench on the porch and has the guitar after he fixes it. And then in this episode, Ellie talks to Jesse about we're not good, but we've kind of figured it out, or at least trying to figure it out.
I'm Ellie, he's Joel, and this is how we are.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we're going to have a flashback to that meeting of her coming home from the party.
Yeah, but, I mean, ultimately now it's the Bella Ramsey show.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
and
awesome.
The Caitlin Dever show.
Right, well, but it's the Bella Ramsey show.
We are all attached
up until now, because it's Pedro, and, he's a big... He's
an A-list dude right now.
He's everywhere right now, and he's a big presence. And now he's pretty much gone, and it's her show.
Yeah,
which is cool.
When they announced Bella is going to play Abby, Ellie. See what's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to tell you it's going to happen a lot. When they announced Bella to play Ellie, there was some pushback because she doesn't look like the Ellie in the game. And I've never been one of those ones who the person has to look like the person in the book or the person in the comic or the person in the game. As long as they carry the essence of that person.
Yeah.
I want that more than the actual visual representation of that person.
Yeah.
This is why you hired Bella Ramsey. This scene, period, end of conversation, I will not be taking any notes. Her anguish as she watches Joel helplessly get killed by her mirror image, and this is why Caitlin Dever, hired as Abby, is complete sense because she was up for Abby when they were trying to make the movie. And they look alike. They act alike. They built alike.
She was up for Ellie.
Ellie. I see. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. So So this is why you hired these two, because they're mirror images of each other, both physically but also spiritually as they are characters in the game. And so it's going. I'm tired of this conversation that they hired the wrong people. This is why you hired both of them. That rage in Caitlyn's face as she's torturing Joel. That's why you hired her.
Yeah.
The anguish in Bella's face as she watches as Joel's getting tortured and killed. That's why you hired them. And so I was already invested in the show. It was already going to be a thing. But I'm even more invested in the show because of what they made this decision so early on.
Yeah.
That they can actually move on and tell the other stories.
Yep.
The more, I won't say in-depth stories, but the consequences of the actions that Joel has taken and Abby has taken and now Ellie is going to take.
Right.
Look, I did it right this time.
Yay.
They alluded in the game to Jackson having being attacked.
Okay.
In the past, but they don't show it in the game. It's talked about, but it's never shown because the game itself is not particularly about that part.
Right.
It's about Ellie and Abby, and so when they made the decision to show the actual attack, this is the Battle of the Bastards level of 7 weeks in the snow.
Yeah. Because they have to set up all that. I mean, first of all, they have to have the town, right, or a good portion of the town because they're running through it.
Yeah.
Tommy, runs through it a bunch, and then the height because they're up on the buildings and stuff, and then they've got to build the wall and then the defenses on the wall, right? The barrels and the chutes and all of that. So yeah, that was a lot.
And then all the extras in the makeup, the
horde.
The horde.
Jesus, yeah.
I wondered how that hanging thread of the cordyceps in the roots of the pipe. I wonder how long that was going to be hanging over the town. Nope, we're just going right at it. It's like we're not even doing.
Yeah.
So they talked about in the after show about how the actual when they read the scripts, the scale in which they thought this episode was going to be done at, and Gabriel Luna was like, I read it. It was amazing. It was huge. I thought that they were going to pull back, and we got on set and they no, let's add 50 more clickers over here. Like it was like, and so just the scope and the scale of this, that they've been talking about the scope and the scale between Craig and Neil in the post show after the post show podcast and the advertising for the show and everything. They've been talking about how the scale of the show has ramped up a lot from the first season, and this is that example.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have HBO money.
Yeah, and HBO. One of the things that's been kind of coming out lately is The Last of Us itself is getting better ratings, like larger ratings numbers than House of the Dragon. And now House of the Dragon right now is not nearly as expensive of a show as The Last of Us because they've already figured out how to create the dragons and
right.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
so they're not spending the extra money to figure that all out.
Yeah.
They're just plugging and playing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what's helping. And it's not like House of the Dragon's getting 10 million and Last of Us is getting 50 million. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like 10 million and 11.5, kind of thing.
Sure.
But they've really just haven't shied away in these first 2 episodes to have scope and scale and emotion, and everything is on set. The chateau in the mountains is exactly how it is in the game.
Yeah.
Even down to the renovation and the teddy bear on the steps,
Yeah.
like all of that is exactly how it is. When they showed up, when Abby and her group of friends showed up last week, where they are on the outcropping and they're looking down into Jackson. That's straight from the game, but that happens way later. Like you're a good 5-6 hours into the of gameplay at that point in time. So that was I found that very interesting. So I was wondering, like, okay, we're gonna have them up there talking about how we're gonna figure out who Joel is for an episode or whatever. And nope, right into our hands.
Yep.
Some things that are some other things. Abby going to the power plant and getting run down by the horde of infected. Her climbing underneath the fence. That's straight from the game. But it's Joel and Tommy who find her, and the three of them go back to the chateau, and they knock Tommy out, and then it's not Dina and Joel.
Right, but this makes sense. I mean, Tommy wouldn't leave when they knew that, like, the situation was a little iffy at Jackson, right? I mean, he made this whole, preparation speech, like making sure everybody knew. So they knew that it was getting a little dicey out there. So there's no way that Tommy and Joel would have left.
Yeah, and I like how Jesse kind of pokes at Ellie a little bit about, like, of course it was Joel and Dina. They're friends, kind of thing. Although Tommy was at the gate with his horse, ready to leave to go find Joel.
Yeah.
When the horde showed up and stuff. One of the things they talked about in the post show thing,
post
show in the comments, was there's a sense of dread when everything's going on with Joel and Abby, and then Ellie gets there late. So there's a sense of dread there. And so they decided, instead of just having this intimate level of dread, they're going to throw a blizzard on top of it.
Yeah.
And then they're going to throw an attack on Jackson.
Right.
So it's not just Joel and Dina who are in peril. It's everyone's in peril.
Yep.
And that choice is spirited, I think, because it would be even more jarring in the wrong direction to have two people that we have come to love and appreciate as characters in peril when everyone in Jackson is having afternoon tea.
Yeah. I mean, you could have... The storm didn't play as big of a role as it could have, right? They could have, instead of the horde, they could have made it so that they were snowed in.
Or that they lose power. And,
they couldn't go out there and look for them, but this is fine.
Yeah. I really like that. The Jesse and Ellie taking refuge in another town away from Jackson, and it was Eugene's pot farm.
Yeah.
That's from
and we got a little bit of the backstory of why Joel's psychiatrist was mad at him about the death of her husband, Eugene.
Yeah. I found that interesting. We know that there's going to be... They haven't said it's a Eugene bottle episode like we got with Bill and Frank, but it's going to be a Eugene-specific show episode coming down the line. And I think if you were going to tell me right now, I think that episode's going to make us feel sympathy to Abby because of Joel's actions. And that maybe Abby was a little more justified, even more justified than she was just to muddy the waters even more for us because
Right.
Craig and Neil love doing that.
Right. Yeah.
But the gas mask with the bong in the game, them like talking about Eugene and everything. Eugene's a big part of the second game, but he's never shown because he's already dead at that point in time, and he dies of cancer or natural causes or whatever.
Okay.
But they're them making a decision to have him be taken out by Joel. I really like. It adds more layers to Joel's character.
Yeah.
That I'm really down for.
Yep.
What else? I mean, it's a big action set piece is always going to make me happy. So I'm really down for all of that. What else?
They showed Tommy trying to burn the bloater over and over and over again to finally get it to die.
That is killing the bloaters by fire or weakening the bloaters by fire so you can actually kill them is straight from the game. So yeah, him on a one-on-one fight with the bloater after standing his post at the wall, and then his wife Maria, standing on the main road with the killing pocket that he created, even though that the infected figured out how to get up the stairs and get to him or whatever.
Yeah.
But her being a badass, pretty much.
Yeah.
No wonder why Tommy likes her. But she was shooting at the bloater, then he took shots at the bloater to pull it away from her. Like, I really.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because they're just like years upon years upon years of cordyceps, mushroom, fungi, whatever, just growing. So like they're just kind of covered in armor.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of get through all of that to actually get to something vital to kill them.
Yeah, and in the game, it's the cordyceps itself has made them stronger, makes them bigger.
Okay.
And this particular bloater was actually even bigger than what we got in Kansas City in season 1.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And in daylight, so it wasn't dark.
That was the thing that I really appreciated. That a lot of the big infected issues or infected fights and things that we had in the first season were all in the dark. 'Cause it makes the special effects so much easier to do because you don't have to be as detailed.
And it's a little just scarier.
Yeah,
watching it because you don't know where something's going to come from.
Yeah, and they did that a little bit with the grocery store in the last episode with Ellie throwing the bottle and stuff with the clicker and stuff. Yeah. But this, they didn't shy away. Like, there would have been very easy to do jump cuts and shaky cam and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they showed a lot of the infected. And then after everything, after the Battle of Jackson happens, they made a point of showing one of the guys, hey, I got bit, and hands his gun over to the guy, like, shoot me, I know, this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
And them cleaning up the streets and everything, like, that's going to be an interesting thing that they have to handle next week, along with the loss of Joel and Abby having to go through what they showed in the next episode kind of trailer thing, her going into the house and smelling his flannel and finding the gun. That's all from the game and stuff. That whole sequence is from the game, and that's a very emotional, wrecking part that we just went through all of that, and now we have to have this funeral kind of ish, like remembrance kind of thing. And then I think that's what's all going to happen next week, and then episode 4 is going to be like Abby and Dina are like, we're out. Ellie and Dina. God damn it. We're going to have to re-record everything. Ellie and Dina, like, out. We're going to go find this bee and take care of her. Yeah. And what that all curtails and what that's all going to be going forward is what the meat of this story this season and next season are going to be. Trying to think if there's anything else that we want to talk about. I think that's it. I I knew this was coming. I've been trying to prepare myself for it. The people who created the game, created the show, made the show, the director, all the actors all talked about it was coming. We knew it was coming, and it was still hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I really appreciated that they took their time to they didn't just rush past it. They took their time with letting us sit in it.
Yeah.
And
For a week.
For a week, yeah. I thought it was going to be a season. I think I'm going to be okay with it for a week. I think my version is is heartbreaking more than the other version. So let us know what you thought of this episode. Our Abby Ellie mix-ups every 20 seconds in the comments down below. Please be nice. Please be nice. If you're on the Spotify side, follow us here. And if you're on the YouTube side, hit the bell for notifications and follow us on all the social media stuff. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on Twitter. We don't use it. Blue Sky and TikTok. And I'm writing for the Geekiary. All those links in the description down below. I'm going to go take some shots. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night now.